The Lamborghini Countach isn't just a car. It's a symbol of rebellion, excess, and unrestrained imagination. When it first appeared in the early 1970s, it didn't just break the rules of automotive design, it obliterated them. With razor-sharp lines, scissor doors that sliced upward like a fighter jet, and an engine that roared like a beast from another world, the Countach wasn't built to be practical. It was built to shock, to seduce, and to forever change the way people imagined. Supercars. For many, it was the poster on their bedroom wall. For others, it was an unattainable dream. But behind the glamorous image lies a story full of chaos, danger, and decisions so wild that even Lamborghini tried to hide them. Tonight, we dive deep into 14 shocking truths about the Lamborghini Countach, peeling back the layers of legend to reveal the madness that brought this icon to life. And remember, in part 2, there's a hidden bonus fact so bizarre that only true Countach fans will believe it. Buckle up, because this ride is going to get loud, fast, and utterly unforgettable. Fact 1. A name that was never meant to be unlike. Other Lamborghinis named after famous bulls or fighting traditions, Countach wasn't meant to be a car name at all. It comes from a Piedmontese slang word, an exclamation of astonishment, similar to shouting, "Wow!" or "incredible." The story goes that when Nuccio Bertone, head of the Bertone design house, first saw the radical prototype in the studio, he couldn't believe his eyes and exclaimed, "Countach." The designers laughed, but Ferruccio Lamborghini decided to keep it. This bold move symbolized the car's radical break from tradition. The Countach wasn't just another bull, it was a revolution on wheels. Fact 2. Designed by a young visionary. The Countach's outrageous look came from Marcello Gandini, a designer at Bertone who was only 27 years old at the time. He had already worked on the Lamborghini Miura, but he wanted to push boundaries even further. Inspired by futuristic ideas, Gandini created the now legendary wedge shape, which looked like it was slicing through the air even while standing still. Many executives thought his design was too insane to ever be built. But Gandini's vision was so compelling that Ferruccio Lamborghini gave it the green light. This bold decision launched an entirely new era of supercar design. Fact 3. Built in total secrecy, the first prototype, known as LP500, was constructed in a secret workshop to keep competitors like Ferrari completely in the dark. Only a handful of trusted engineers were allowed access, and they worked day and night to prepare the car for its shocking debut. When Lamborghini finally revealed it at the 1971 Geneva Motor Show, it was like a spaceship had landed on Earth. Crowds swarmed the display, and automotive journalists declared it the future of high-performance cars. But what no one knew was that the prototype was far from ready for production and full of dangerous flaws. Fact 4. The engine that nearly exploded the Countach's massive V12 engine was crammed tightly behind the driver, creating extreme heat and mechanical stress. During early tests, engineers struggled to keep it cool, and one prototype caught fire during high-speed testing, nearly ending the entire project. Lamborghini's solution was to cut huge vents into the bodywork, creating the famous ears air intakes that became a signature styling element. What started as a desperate fix for a dangerous problem ended up making the Countach even more recognizable and aggressive-looking. Fact 5. Driving blind. While the Countach was designed to look stunning, it was not designed to be easy to drive. The seating position was awkward, the steering was heavy, and rear visibility was practically non-existent. In fact, reversing the car normally was so difficult that Lamborghini developed a bizarre technique. Drivers had to open the scissor door, sit on the door's sill, and lean out while backing up. This unique move became a quirky trademark of the Countach and is still demonstrated by enthusiasts today. It looked ridiculous, but it was the only way to safely reverse the car. Fact 6. The wing that did absolutely nothing. In the 1980s, Lamborghini offered a massive optional rear wing for the Countach. It gave the car a more aggressive, race-inspired appearance and quickly became popular among buyers. However, here's the shocking truth. The wing was completely non-functional. Instead of increasing downforce, it actually slowed the car down by creating extra drag. Engineers admitted it was purely cosmetic, yet almost every buyer wanted one, proving that sometimes style matters more than performance, especially in the world of exotic cars. Fact 7. illegal in America when the Countach was first released. It couldn't legally be sold in the United States due to strict safety and emissions regulations. Wealthy Americans still wanted the car, so they turned to gray market importers who would modify the Countach to pass U.S. laws. These modifications were often crude and expensive, making American Countachs some of the most exclusive and costly supercars of the era. It wasn't until the mid-1980s that Lamborghini officially sold the Countach in the US, giving enthusiasts legal access to the dream car they'd lusted after for years. Fact 8. Ferruccio Lamborghini walked ironically, the man who started. Lamborghini never got to see the Countach become a global legend. Ferruccio Lamborghini sold the company and retired before the car went into full production. He believed the Countach was too risky and doubted its commercial success. Imagine walking away from a project that would go on to define the entire Lamborghini brand. This twist of fate makes the Countach story even more dramatic, a masterpiece born just as its creator exited the stage. Fact 9. The car that almost bankrupted the company building the Countach was so complicated and expensive that Lamborghini nearly went bankrupt. Each car required an enormous amount of labor, and the profit margins were razor thin. At one point, production had to be paused entirely because the company ran out of funds. If outside investors hadn't stepped in, the Countach and Lamborghini itself might have disappeared forever. Ironically, the very car that saved the brand's image almost destroyed it financially. Fact 10. A quirky, hand-built interior step inside a Countach, and you'll notice something unusual. The dashboard wasn't sleek or uniform like modern supercars. Instead, it was filled with random switches and gauges, many borrowed from tractors, airplanes, or whatever parts Lamborghini could source at the time. Since every Countach was hand-built, no two interiors were exactly the same. This gave each car a unique personality, but also meant that some controls felt oddly placed or inconsistent. It was chaotic, but charmingly so. Fact 11. The first prototype was destroyed. The original LP 500 prototype that wowed crowds in 1971 didn't survive. Lamborghini had to destroy it in crash tests to meet government safety regulations. This loss is heartbreaking for collectors today, as the LP 500 would likely be worth tens of millions of dollars. Its destruction turned it into a mythic artifact. In automotive history, a reminder that even legends must sometimes be sacrificed for progress. Fact 12. Built by master craftsmen, not machines. Unlike modern supercars produced by robots, every Countach was painstakingly assembled by hand. Teams of skilled craftsmen shaped the aluminum panels, stitched the leather interiors, and carefully tuned each V12 engine. This slow, artisanal process meant production numbers were tiny and imperfections were common. Some cars even left the factory with small quirks or flaws, making each Countach completely unique. Owning one wasn't just about speed, it was about possessing a rolling piece of art. Fact 13. A Hollywood superstar during the 1980s, the Countach became a pop culture icon. Celebrities like Sylvester Stallone, Rod Stewart, and Sammy Davis Jr. proudly showed off their cars in magazines and movies. The Countach starred in films like The Cannonball Run, where its dramatic appearance cemented its reputation as the ultimate exotic. Seeing one on screen instantly told audiences that they were looking at the pinnacle of wealth, style, and power. Fact 14. The poster that defined a generation for millions of kids growing up in the 70s and 80s. The Countach wasn't just a car, it was a dream on paper. Poster companies sold millions of glossy Countach prints, often showing the car in wild colors with futuristic backdrops. It became the defining poster car of its era. Even people who never cared about cars could recognize its iconic silhouette. To this day, the image of a red or white Countach with scissor doors raised remains one of the most powerful symbols of ambition and desire. Fact 15. The ugly bumpers that fans hated. When Lamborghini finally brought the Countach to the American market, US safety regulations caused a massive problem. The original sleek European design didn't meet strict laws about crash safety, so Lamborghini had to make drastic changes. Their solution? They added huge, boxy rubber bumpers to the front and rear of the car. These bumpers looked completely out of place, ruining the razor-sharp aesthetic of the Countach. Fans were furious. To many collectors, These bumpers were an insult to the design genius of Marcello Gandini. Some wealthy owners even went as far as paying extra to have the ugly bumpers removed, returning their cars to the original European style. Today, when enthusiasts restore US spec Countachs, the very first step is almost always getting rid of those notorious bumpers. Ironically, what was added to protect drivers ended up being seen as one of the most embarrassing chapters in Lamborghini's history. Fact 16. A dangerous top speed that demanded respect. The Lamborghini Countach wasn't just beautiful, it was brutally fast. In an era when most cars struggled to reach 120 miles per hour, the Countach could blast past 180 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest production cars in the world. But this insane speed came with serious risks. The handling of the Countach was notoriously tricky. With its wide body, rear-heavy layout, and lack of modern driver aids like traction control, it demanded absolute skill and respect. Many wealthy owners, excited to show off their new toy, lost control and crashed. For inexperienced drivers, the Countach was a beast waiting to strike. Stories spread of celebrities and millionaires wrapping their cars around trees or spinning out on highways. Lamborghini even began quietly warning buyers that this was not a car for amateurs. To drive a Countach at its limits wasn't just thrilling, it was life-threatening. Fact 17. The celebrity magnet of the 80s by the mid-1980s. The Lamborghini Countach wasn't just a car, it was a cultural icon. Owning one was like wearing a crown. Hollywood stars, rock legends, and sports icons were desperate to get their hands on one. Among the most famous owners were Sylvester Stallone, who was so obsessed with the Countach that he reportedly kept one hidden away just for joyrides. Rod Stewart, who famously customized his Countach in wild colors, and Sammy Davis Jr., who flaunted his car at glamorous parties. The Countach's biggest moment in pop culture came when it starred in the hit movie The Cannonball Run. In the opening sequence, the car was shown speeding through highways with its scissor doors raised, instantly captivating audiences around the globe. This single film appearance cemented the Countach's reputation as the ultimate symbol of speed and rebellion. By this time, if you saw a Countach parked outside a nightclub, you instantly knew a superstar was inside. Fact 18. The poster car that defined a generation for millions of kids in the 70s and 80s, the Lamborghini Countach wasn't just a dream, it was the dream. Poster companies sold millions of glossy Countach posters, often featuring the car in bold colors like red, white, or black, posed against neon backdrops or dramatic desert landscapes. These posters didn't just decorate bedrooms, they became symbols of ambition and success. The Countach became the first true poster car phenomenon, inspiring young gearheads who swore they'd one day own a supercar of their own. Even kids, who couldn't pronounce Lamborghini, knew the Countach's shape by heart. It was everywhere, in magazines, movies, and even early video games. To this day, many collectors admit their obsession with exotic cars began with a single Countach poster taped above their childhood bed. Fact 19. A rare beast with limited numbers. Despite its fame, Lamborghini kept Countach production extremely limited. Between 1974 and 1990, only about 2,000 units were ever built. This scarcity was partly because each car was hand-built by skilled craftsmen, a slow and expensive process. It also reflected Lamborghini's financial struggles at the time. Unlike mass-produced sports cars, the Countach was never meant to be common. Today, this limited production has made surviving Countachs incredibly valuable. At auctions, pristine models sell for millions of dollars, with rare versions like the LP 400 fetching record-breaking prices. Owning a Countach isn't just about having a fast car. It's about possessing a piece of automotive history that few people will ever experience firsthand. Fact 20. The final farewell and a lasting legacy. After 16 years of production, the Lamborghini Countach's era finally came to an end in 1990. The last Countach ever built was a stunning silver model, created as a tribute to the company's founder, Ferruccio Lamborghini. Even though newer models like the Diablo and Aventador have come since, the Countach's influence is everywhere. Its scissor doors, wedge shape, and fearless attitude continue to inspire Lamborghini's modern designs. In 2021, Lamborghini even released a special limited edition hybrid supercar called the Countach LPI 800-4, paying homage to the original legend. The final farewell of the original Countach wasn't the end. It was the start of a legacy that refuses to die. To this day, when people see those sharp lines and upward opening doors, they don't just see a car. They see a dream brought to life. Outro. A legend that will never be forgotten, the Lamborghini Countach was more than just a machine. It was a symbol of power, rebellion, and untamed creativity. Born out of secrecy, nearly destroyed by financial chaos, and adored by celebrities and dreamers alike, it remains one of the most important cars ever built. From bedroom posters to Hollywood movies, the Countach shaped an entire generation's idea of what a supercar should be. Even decades later, no other vehicle captures the same sense of wild, unapologetic freedom. As the sun sets on the age of pure analog supercars, the Countach's spirit lives on, not just in Lamborghini's modern designs, but in the hearts of everyone who ever dared to dream big. Because legends never die, they just rev louder.